in. Hi there, how are you all? I'm Max Kleiner. Nice to meet you, Allie. Max Kleiner. Nice to meet you, Carly. Hey, Max Kleiner.
Nice to meet you, Carly.
I heard that name. Hey, nice to meet you, Jordan. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Hey, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Mind if I see you?
Yeah, it's good to see you.
Good morning.
Well, it's wonderful
Yeah, it's great to have you.
to be here. Thank you for having us today.
Glad you can get out.
Yes, well, tell us, what are you guys looking forward to this week?
Oh, just the same. The end's coming up. See the family. I know it. We all enjoy spending a little bit of time when we can.
Absolutely. Family first. Well, we are all excited to be here. I'd like for all of us to go through and have my team introduce themselves. Just I know names can get lost in the scramble of walking in. And so again, I'm Christina Ward, and I'm our sales manager.
I'm Aaron Schroff. I'm our VP of Manufacturing.
I'm Joseph Crump. I am the Regional Sales Manager.
I'm Ava Hernandez, and I'm the Applications Engineer.
I'm Max Kleiner. I'm the Manager of Applications Engineering.
Nice. And then we'll do the same. I'm Jason Treese. I'm our purchasing agent.
I'm Xiao Zhao, Positioning Manager.
I'm Jordan Gehring. I'm the Production Engineer.
I'm Allie Boyce. I'm Vice President of Drilling.
And I'm Carly Smith. I'm actually the Partex consultant. So Maverick brought me in to work with him, and I'm really excited to speak with all of you guys today.
Well, it's wonderful to meet you all, and we want to kick off this meeting by asking what questions that you have for us after you've received our price quotation and looking through that. We want to know any questions you have, anything that's changed since our last meeting, since we last spoke.
Yeah, so team and I looked through it, and we see some things that we think could be really good, but some things that we are definitely concerned about. One of the big things is price. We know that we put out an RP to a few other companies, and what we got back was quite a bit cheaper, and so that is something that we are looking to adjust. I know that the engineering team and I looked at the marine shelter, and we had some concerns about that, considering that we aren't suffering a lot of water damage, but I'll let Jordan cover that.
Yeah, a couple things. We like he said, we've never had any water issues of getting into the rig. Another thing is I do believe that the JR2000 to be a very valuable product for offshore production. However, I don't even think the recuperator is very necessary, in my opinion. Also, it requires 2 to 3 years of field testing to even know if the thing works. So that being said, I would love to come down on price if that's something that needs to be included in the product.
Yeah, that's definitely something I'm excited to talk to you about today. So if there aren't any other questions, I'd love to go ahead and talk about it.
I actually do have a question. So, of course, Maverick brought me in. I've worked with you guys in the past, and I've enjoyed my time working with you. But one thing I've seen, which is I think should be on all of our minds, and is on all of our minds, is delivery. You guys have kind of had a problem with that in the past, and so we've all agreed that 3 months, we want this in 3 months, and that's a non-negotiable. So I don't want to go higher than that, and that's something we can get into more, but 3 months, and that's it.
Mm-hmm. With it being a new product, I think that it's important that we get it so we are able to test, make sure there aren't any bugs, whereas later on that could be an issue.
Yeah. And then speaking alongside, the new product, and since we're all bringing up and addressing questions and concerns, I believe the service contract, I think it's great, wonderful. It is a little pricey. I think the application is great, but it's something I would like to work out later.
Okay.
Yeah, and also going back to the recuperator part, we're really interested in trying to see how it can do. And like Jordan said, we are seeing that it's a new product, and we need more practice time to see how it will work. And I'm also interested in seeing, is there an ROI for recuperator, and how would that work to our entire system?
So that's kind of where we're at right now. The whole team has a bunch of questions. I know it's a lot, but I'd love to touch on right at the beginning.
Yeah, of course. So with the recuperator, we're actually able to reduce fuel consumption by 25 to 30%. And that's something that's really important nowadays with prices of natural gas being ever changing. You want to make sure that you're able to decrease that, but we also have savings of approximately $15,000 to $20,000 per month alone. This is a new product, so we're able to bring new innovation to the table. While your concerns are about it being tested, we've ran multiple tests, and while it is newer, we're really confident in the product as of now. So that's kind of where we sit. It's able to generate 2.2 millimeters of cubic feet of gas per day at the wellhead. So you said you're concerned with the ROI. It has a 2 year and 6 month ROI, so you're able to see that ROI pretty fast. Maybe not within the first year, but it will definitely be there soon. And
And how has that been proven, though? How do we know that it's going to work?
I mean, lab testing is great, but we're out in the field. You know, we're on the rig. You know, air spray matters. Stuff happens. What?
yeah, of course. I think that's kind of why I'd also like to speak on our service contract. While you said it is a higher price, we're willing to take our team, get them out there to teach your team, your service team, so that once that contract is up, you'll feel perfectly confident with having your own team come out and service the product once that warranty ends. So we've seen from the past that having our own personnel come and service these parts makes for a lot less errors down the line.
I am curious, sorry to interject, but I am curious for my team where you got that 2 year, 6 month ROI. I'm trying to follow your logic behind that. So can you show me the numbers behind that?
So I think, just to be clear, your concern is what exactly that's pertaining to. So what Ava is saying is that we're actually going to send, as far as servicing, our people out for the first 2 years to train your employees on how exactly to service our products. That way, I mean, we all know it's cheaper to have your own people do it, right, than to contract others out. So after that 2 year period, if you feel that your team of people, service people and whatnot, are trained and adequately up to date based on what our people have provided them in terms of knowledge on our products, then what we'll do is go ahead and step back and your employees can actually service.
So like an apprenticeship role?
The only problem with that is that they already have a specific role within the company. Do you think that they have time to service equipment when we can just get somebody to come in and do it? Yes, it's cheaper, but I already have these guys doing things that they need to be doing to begin with. They shouldn't have to spend time servicing equipment.
Sure. I mean, you guys are in the business of offshore drilling, right?
Right.
So from what I want to make sure I'm understanding correctly, do you not have a team of people and employees out there on the decks to service things when they go wrong?
I know that we have service teams, but I know, like you said, I know it is a new product. So are you talking an apprenticeship kind of role for the service contract where you come out, our guys would learn, and then I know we are looking to expand in the future over the next 5 years. About 20 new wells is what we're looking at. So after this, our team would then know how to service.
Exactly.
Okay.
And just to clarify, you're saying that ROI is with the service part of that, not the product itself?
Carly, to circle back to that, I'm glad you brought it back up. Ava and I calculated that using the initial investment cost of the recuperator, and then taking those savings that we said of $15,000 to $20,000 a month, and then we calculated that out, and it gets 2.6 years. Does that clarify for you? Okay.
Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah.
I did want to touch on that marine shelter. I know we said that it might not be something that we are super interested in just because we haven't noticed a lot of those issues with water damage. The air filters look great. I know that salt spray is something we've been worried about with corrosive elements with the salt, but not necessarily water damage. We are pretty high up with our rigs.
Yeah, Jason, just to clarify, you have hesitancy about the efficacy of the marine shelter as a whole?
Yeah, as to why we would even need it. I know that there are some lower rigs where water damage might be an issue, but
So actually something we do differently on the engineering side is we make a custom-built marine shelter, whereas other firms will do a one-size-fits-all cookie-cutter type deal, and then that results in water damage because air and water is still leaking in. And where that is beneficial is the air also doesn't get in, so we find that the shelter is actually more necessary in an offshore application due to our testing than the salt spray air filter, because that shelter then protects from water and air. The salt spray filter is a great extra barrier of protection, but if you do have some hesitancy about including all of the products in that package, then it would probably be best to not include the salt spray air filter if you're not going to include anything.
I mean, I just think, looking at the price difference, it's quite a bit more expensive than just the air filter. So if we're not really having those water issues, what's the point of getting it?
to touch on that, the reasoning from what I understand is because it is so high up, right, the rigs. And so there still is, of course, that element of heavy rain that can still cause that corrosion, which the marine shelter would be able to protect.
Yeah. And what essentially Max touched on it is that marine shelter is going to be your first line of defense, whereas the spray filters are more so going to be that extra insurance policy. But because the marine shelter is custom fit and that's laser precision, you're not going to have any issues with using that. Whereas if you cut that out and only use the air filters, there are going to be a lot of issues there.
And Jason, just to clarify, you haven't had issues in offshore applications with water corrosion and salt? Okay.
Yeah. No, our rigs out there are way higher up.
Okay.
So not a lot of waves coming in. I know that some rigs are a bit lower. There's something to having a bit lower. I don't know what the difference is necessarily. That's something our engineering team, I'm sure, can talk about. But no. So we haven't noticed a whole lot of salt water damage.
So you haven't noticed a whole lot of saltwater damage, but I know you expressed a concern about the recuperator and whether or not it's necessary. Can you explain more in detail about what your concern was about that?
I guess my concern is really that testing. Like she said, it was more lab testing rather than field testing. When we're out there, how do we know this thing is going to work? That's a big investment, $500,000.
Oh yeah, and I definitely think prior to, because we are expanding, we want to make sure prior to installation that we're not necessarily going to need to lean on the service contract as much, because obviously we don't want it consistently breaking down, not working, because lab testing and real life applications so much different.
That's where Vulture likes to step in. We want to have our own team come out and install this product because we see a lot less engineering difficulties when we have our own team come out and install the product. But while it is new, y'all are a leader in mining or natural gas, so you want to be the forefront of innovation. You're using a new product. Vulture is well known. We have a lot of confidence in our products. So you get to be seen as using this new product, and we're going to be saving you money while you're also trying out new innovation.
After reading through, I am pretty excited about it. I thought it looks great. I think the energy consumption savings is going to be wonderful for us, and I think that's where the service contract would really come in. We have mentioned that field testing usually takes about 2 to 3 years in order to make sure that a product is fully working. So I know that the service contract that y'all sent over would be for 2 years. I'd love if we could get that out to 3, get the full coverage of product testing, just to make sure that if anything goes wrong in those 3 years, that we can kind of cover that.
Sure. Well, when we were talking about the apprenticeship partner part of the service contract, we wanted to stick to that 2 years, because by the end of those 2 years, your team would be ready to service and go make sure that all those parts and the part overall as a whole is working well.
I just want to clarify, are you talking the warranty itself or the actual labor aspect of it?
Well, so we like the service contract because we do know that this is a new product, and while we love our engineer team and we think that they do a great job, we do know that y'all are going to be the experts on a brand new product. Yeah. So we want to learn. And I think that the apprenticeship would be great, and I do understand what you're saying with the 2 years and having our team trained by then. Then I would actually then like to bring the price down of the service contract. That is a little expensive if we're going to do 2 years. Bring that down a little bit.
And I think the reason for that is because it is a new product. Like I said, it hasn't been heavily tested just yet. And so if you're confident that this is going to work, I believe the price should come down. And it should be on y'all's cost versus our cost.
Sure.
That makes sense.
We understand that. I think we could do $130 for the service contract. How does that sound to y'all?
For 2 years?
For 2 years.
I was thinking closer to, I know that it's about 150 right now. I was thinking closer to 100. I feel like 50 a year would be great.
Well, what's the annual cost on that 130 for 2 years?
For the 2 years, it's the
65.
65. Yeah. So it's not the 130 for each year. 65 over.
So you're closer to 100. You're feeling
that's where we talked about. I feel like that 100.
I know you mentioned, Jordan, the importance of making sure that the product works, especially since it's newer and hasn't been tested much. And that's really why the service contract is where it is. We are willing to have some flexibility go down to that 130, but it is custom built. And so that really is why that team is so crucial, because we'll be able to come in and service without having any improper maintenance with the custom aspects.
Yeah, the concerns about the recuperator, and Ali, I know you did bring that up. We have put this, and I know lab testing is very different than real life application, and there's nothing that's going to substitute 100% for being in the middle of the ocean and going through the weather and all that. But we have absolutely hammered these things in testing and put it through what we feel to be actually more brutal testing than what you're going to see in the field in real application. So that being said, it has proven itself from a lab standpoint. I understand there might still be a reservation there. However, we are nothing short of confident that this is going to perform and the downtime is going to be mitigated on this recuperator.
So for me, I have a question. I mean, I think it's great that you guys say that it's proven, and of course, we would love to trust you. But where are those numbers? Do you have those on hand where we can actually see that data that's actually backing that up?
What numbers are you looking for exactly?
Just its performance, how it's been performing this past year. I think I've seen Max over there excited to.
I think Ava touched on it about the test we did, and we found it would reduce fuel consumption 25 to 30%, savings of approximately 15 to 20,000 a month, and that's where we got that ROI as well. And Carly, you've worked with us in the past.
I mean, I have.
And seen some new things come into the market and seen them tested, and if you used and experienced that. So we have a history of success with new launches, and obviously we want the best for you all too in this partnership. We're not going to do something that's advantageous for us, but it's going to put you all in a bad position. So we really take faith from an engineering standpoint in that recuperator.
Yes.
So
I have worked with y'all. I mean, I'm a big fan of the recuperator. I just know that, but I want to make sure that they make the best decision for their company as well.
For sure.
And this is the technology that we're going to start seeing in the future that everyone's going to be using. So there is a lot of value in jumping into that and being the first ones to the plate in terms of what technology you are using.
Yeah.
So that's something to consider as we do talk about this recuperator.
Yeah, but I mean, you also have to be considering the risks.
Yes.
Jump in the water, you don't know what's down there, right?
Exactly.
So, I think that's something. I do know this is a new technology. I'd love to touch back on that service contract, just so we have a number set.
Absolutely.
That's a good starting point.
I'm thinking that we could do the 100 for the service contract. We understand your hesitancy with it being a new product, and we are confident in it. So I think it speaks to our confidence if we are able to lower that to 100.
So is it 100 for 2 years?
Yeah,
So
so
50
50
years.
each year.
2 year.
Okay, great.
Okay, service warranty.
And
So we're all good at 100? Sorry.
So we're all
yeah,
good.
no, I'm 50 a year. I think that's not. Yeah, that's a
50 year, 2 years, and parts and labor.
yes. And with the stipulation that we would have an apprenticeship process
Yes.
for our team.
That will be there, most
Okay,
certainly. We
great.
want to make sure when our teams, pull back from that 2 year period, that you are completely self-sufficient, your employees are to service those and take care of those issues that might arise.
Yeah, it's one thing to be an industry leader in technology as long as you can service it, right?
Exactly.
Understandable. If it breaks and you can't fix it, well.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we don't know how.
Exactly. Well, awesome, great. I'm glad we could do that. I know that the recuperator, we were just on it. We have been worried about price a little bit. Like we said, a new technology, and we are looking to expand in the future. So if this is something that we see a lot of value in, we'd love to maybe talk about getting it on more rigs in the future after we see some value. It is kind of expensive. $500,000 is quite a bit. Is there any leeway on that? Are we able to bring that down quite a bit? I mean, like you said, you want your product out there. It's a new technology. You want it in the public, because this doesn't just look good for us. It looks good for y'all. And so I'd love to bring that down. We were thinking closer to 3, at least for this first rig, because so we can see it, y'all can get publicity, as well as we can start seeing some energy savings.
Kind of a little trial basis for us, and then also you guys get to advertise our name behind the
So,
product.
from what I understand, then it would be really advantageous in order to see this product in this first one, and then we could set that discount just for the first one, and then moving forward into future rigs have a different price set.
Somewhere. Yeah.
Okay, so, and this is what I'm thinking. 3 is, I mean, that's coming down $200,000.
It's true.
On a $500,000 quote.
Mm-hmm.
That's quite a lot.
Yep.
And we've already come back on the service contract $50,000,
It's true.
which is something that I felt coming into this was a fair quote, considering it will be an apprenticeship program. Factoring that in, I think the lowest we would be able to go is, let's meet halfway at 4. How's 400,000 sound?
4's not bad, team. I know that we had talked about it. Does anybody have a concern with 4? I know that it's a little bit higher than we wanted.
I mean, well, especially that we have that service contract, we come down on that, and we'll be training your team for the future. Hopefully that eases your concern.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
That's
think
true.
it did bring up some really great advantages that would be able to assist us. So I think I
think
feel more
it's-
comfortable with 4.
4, I'm fine with 4. I think that's reasonable. It's a new product.
Great.
Okay, great.
Okay.
I think that
4?
And just to, before we go ahead and write this in, or pencil it in, should I say, that's going to be $400,000 for the first year, or this first well, should I say, and then moving on into the future with, I believe you said 20, is that correct?
Yeah, so over the 5 years, we're hoping 20. It could be a little more, or it could be a little less, but obviously I don't want to commit to anything. We want to see how the product does first, but hopefully in the future, if this goes well, we will see a lot of return, and we would love to talk in the future.
Okay.
And that's something we can renegotiate.
Yeah,
Wait,
but-
absolutely.
Right. So for right now, we'll stick with 4.
Yes, 4 would be great.
Wonderful. And then we haven't quite touched on these sea salt air spray filters. Where are you thinking for that?
We thought the filters
Designs?
were great. We think price is good on those, but that's still the marine shelter we're
That's the
hesitant
biggest
on.
hesitancy.
Yeah, because I know that it's custom built. That's great, and I'm sure that when there is some water damage, that really keeps it out. But if we're just facing that air damage, I think the filters are really going to be our best option.
So where is the hesitation on the marine shelter exactly? Is it that you don't think, $400,000, and what I'm hearing is that you don't feel there's gonna be enough ROI on that, or is that, am I understanding that correctly? Or?
Yeah, so it's $300,000 more than the air spray filters for water protection. If that's not something that we're necessarily dealing with, then I don't see why that we would spend that extra money.
And we don't really get a whole lot of like salt water concern damage or anything like that.
Yeah.
So,
I know you mentioned rain,
no rain.
but it's a lot cheaper to buy a cover for just over the top for rain than it would be for on the
So,
side.
Jordan, just to clarify, you said you don't get a lot of salt water damage, but you're interested in the salt spray filter. Is that correct?
Because it's 100,000 versus 400,000.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
Well, I just think I saw that as the marine shelter's a great application because it's engineered in a way where both water and air, so that air piece that you all are so interested, that salty air in the Gulf, that it also protects from that. So we love that product, and that salt spray air filter is an extra level of defense, as Joseph
But
mentioned.
that's
and
what
it's great.
That's what the air filter does, right? It protects against the air.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's what we're worried about. That's where we see damage,
So-
not
Okay.
water.
Yeah.
I do want to point this out.
Mhm.
We've seen BP. We've seen the different oil spills that happen, and there is a reason that we've titled this the marine shelter. You start talking that combination of salt water and air getting down in there, and the blowback from that well could be a $1 billion issue plus. You start talking about the cleanup that goes into that. So really protecting yourself while drilling,
We do gas. We don't do oil.
Okay, well, still, you're drilling for natural gas, and
Yeah,
the blowback and what can happen not only on the surface on the deck and your workers, the people that could lose their lives. That's a $400,000 insurance policy that you're going to have.
So are you saying the marine shelter would completely keep all the gas inside? It wouldn't allow any out.
It's custom fit, so it will be very precise, but a lot of it just comes down to who is operating and how careful they are. because a lot of the things that we're seeing in issues as far as explosions happening offshore, onshore, on the decks is, human error.
So the way that I saw this was the marine shelter was keeping stuff from getting in, not from getting out.
Exactly.
So I mean, we don't have oil. I don't think that BP would be an apt comparison.
No, that's okay.
And so with gas, I still think that would leak out. I mean, any marine shelter, no matter if it's custom fit, there's going to be small areas, and gas is going to get out no matter what. I think that's not a super great comparison there.
No, I'm more so talking about the potential damage that could be done. We're talking about people losing their lives, and gas does harm the environment because you are, extracting that from within the earth. And essentially, this is going to be able to keep those things out to prevent, blowback of any sort, or, you start talking about that gas. And I will say, I'm not a chemistry major. I wasn't in college, but when salt and air gets mixed with that gas, it can bring up some really hazardous situations, and potentially very dangerous situations for all involved.
And I understand that you said this isn't the largest concern, because we aren't dealing directly with that water damage. So maybe we could even talk about bringing down that price significantly, especially because you don't use it, is not the most key component out of all three of our options. So maybe even looking at bringing it down to 300.
I know that 300's, I would love to see that come down more, or at least, maybe the air filters come down as well with that. I know that that's where we're going to see a lot of our value, so, if we do 4 on the marine shelter, we'd love to bring the air filter down to 50, or some more on the marine shelter. Just because, we're not getting a whole lot of use out of it. I understand when you sell it, it's going to look good, it's the full set. So when you market to other companies, you can use this.
Yeah, well, our marine shelter is also able to reduce downtime by 10%. So this 3-piece package reduces downtime significantly. We're going to have our own team out there to service, but that's not only reducing the downtime, it's also the fact that this is custom built.
How long is that going to take?
So
how long? Wait, just to clarify.
To custom build the shelter, you have to come out. I know costs of getting out to the rig are expensive. Are you covering that?
Yeah.
By the way,
Yeah, we can.
Costs coming out to the rig.
Cost of labor.
Well, that's something on the engineering side. Just to clarify for you, that we'll come out, take measurements, and then on Aaron's side in manufacturing, I'm not sure how long that estimate would be.
Yeah, I know that she mentioned the importance of delivery in 3 months. That is something that.
Yeah, 3 months is non-negotiable, and I've kind
That's-
of had an issue with you guys in the past
Sure.
with that, and so, I think, especially for Jason, I think we would all be a little bit more comfortable going in as maybe a higher price if we have your delivery and, that custom manufacturing set in stone, and if we get it on time,
So the concern is, just to clarify, is that getting the components on time of this package. Is that correct?
Yes, 6 months, what was originally quoted, is really long. We
It's not
would
gonna
love to see 3.
Yeah.
That's really a big resistance point for us. I think that we'd be more inclined to go with the 3 on the marine shelter if we can guarantee 3 months delivery.
So with the guarantee, in order to expedite the process, obviously there's that rush element too, and so we would be able to guarantee, say, 4 months, but in order to have that 3, that 100% guarantee is really not something possible, and so the delivery terms on that would have less of that insurance, because we might potentially go over.
Yeah, I'm sorry. This was a non-negotiable. I think for our team, we came in here set on 3 and nothing more. And so it's kind of upsetting to hear 4 months brought up, because I have worked with you guys in the past, and this is something that I've dealt with, where you guys kind of go up on that delivery time, and then I've seen it longer than that. So I'm set on 3, and I'm not budging, and we've agreed on that.
So our manufacturing process, just to clarify here, is not what's going to take that 3 months to 4. It's the supply chain, which I would hope. That's out of our hands. We can only do so much. We can manufacture this in, let's say, a month. But ultimately, when we're trying to get from our production facilities to offshore and wherever your location is of your well, that's something that kind of it's out of our hands.
Yeah, and this is a brand new product.
Yeah.
So this isn't something that I would assume you don't have a ton of orders for. So this is one recuperator. We're not ordering 100.
Yeah.
was it not possible to just produce the one? I know that you probably already have the materials for that. I don't see why you wouldn't.
That's so. Yeah, you can speak on that.
Yeah, and so for our team, I really believe we can shoot for that 3 months and put that into the contract delivery. But would you be comfortable with a 20,000 month penalty for late delivery if we were to make it an expedited process?
20,000, no, definitely not.
This is the thing, and you know, with me being in the business for 20 years, I've dealt with companies that oftentimes when we order something, they don't have a sense of urgency to get it here. So that the late penalty fee is a sense of urgency to get that product here, get it to me.
Well, that is in reverse to supply chain issues. So not
Well,
really
like
something that's
Jason said, if you're only producing one and it's 3 months, I mean, I don't see why there should be ultimately a problem. If you, like you said, I think you kind of agreed that you have those products on hand. So 3 months seems reasonable to me. And like Jordan said, if it's a sense of urgency, I don't really see why that penalty would be an issue.
We have
to keep it higher.
we have the means to go ahead and put this into production. That's not the issue. The issue is the boats that are going to be shipping this out. It's let's say this: if we were using UPS, it's UPS that we would be waiting on. You wouldn't be waiting on us. So while we understand, and I think I can speak for everyone here, you need this in the shortest amount of time possible. We understand that at Bolter, but we can't make the promise and the guarantee, because if we say that now that we can do that,
So
then
if
we run into a supply chain issue and it takes 4 months, then we haven't held up our end.
If we had a boat bringing out to the rig, y'all could do it in under 3.
Yeah.
We can do that. And
So
But then I
we should
think
start
what
that
he
forward.
just said, I mean, justifies our reasoning behind keeping that penalty higher. If they're still sitting here not guaranteeing that
Aaron,
it's
what were
gonna be
you
there
were
in
asking
3
for
months.
the delay?
you said 10.
what's something that you'd be comfortable with?
I mean, we all agreed at 75.
75. That's what we thought would be great. I mean, we cannot go past that 3. That's where we're at. So I mean,
Understood.
you said it can get in a month. I mean, if you can get it produced in a month, or even go lower,
That's what we're looking at.
we can have a boat ready to bring it out to the rig as fast as y'all can get it. Y'all can get it up.
Right. If 3 months is your non-negotiable,
Yeah.
we want to continue partnering with y'all and working with y'all. We've had a successful relationship year after year, and so this is your non-negotiable. We're absolutely willing
Can we set
to work on that 3 months.
the delivery at 3? And obviously, if you can get it faster, we would love that. Let us know. We can have it a boat
Sure.
ready immediately.
I mean, that shows that we can depend on y'all, and they can depend on y'all in the future too.
Right.
So that would be exciting.
What's the price that we're setting on that?
I think
For late delivery,
probably 50.
yeah. How do y'all feel about $50,000?
I
know that it's not something that you would obviously plan on, but like I said, I mean, we will take care of the getting it out to the rig. As long as you can get it to the port, we'll take care of it.
So to clarify, you would be in charge of the transportation of the product, and we would solely be tasked with delivering the product, compressor, etc.
If you can get
by
that to
date.
to the port by that date, we can have it on the boat and out to the rig. That's not a long trip.
Is this one component or all of them?
All of them.
Okay. So at this point, and Aaron, I'll have to ask you this: how do you feel? How comfortable do you feel getting all components of the package? I guess this is more of involving all 3 of you. How do you feel about getting all the components of the package there, covering our end, and letting them pick it up?
Especially
And-
given
and-
the
No,
I feel
supply
confident.
chain.
In, let's say 2 months, give it a month on the boat and shipping.
That would be great.
Okay.
I mean, it shouldn't take nearly that long.
I feel that's something we could definitely do.
Aaron?
So we good with 3 and
And 50.
yeah, and are we okay with 50 for the late delivery?
50 seems still high to me.
Okay,
I understand your concern.
Especially if we're handing it off.
Sure.
it's true. I mean, that's understandable.
But given that we quoted it at 10, that is a large increase, so maybe we could meet somewhere in the middle there. Is 30?
About 40.
I would say 40.
It's just
And
this
it's-
is
And of
This is
course,
something
you
we-
can reevaluate in a year. I mean, this is just one well, and
Sure.
going forward, I mean, seeing how you guys perform with this delivery this time, this can be another conversation that we can have with those 20 wells in the future.
Sure.
But I think going forward, especially because I've worked with you guys in the past, this has been something that I've dealt with. And I'm advocating for their company. I think 40 would be the best.
I do want to ask. So let's say we go with that 40 number. Okay. What happens if we get, our product to the port, boat picks it up, halfway across the ocean, huge storm, something happens, and it doesn't get there
That's on us.
in 3 months?
Yeah.
I want to make sure that we get
Once it's on the boat, we've taken ownership of it. That's
Okay.
on us.
All right. As long as that's a clear understanding.
Now, your people will be installing the materials, right?
Correct.
Okay,
Yes.
great.
We'll bring the installation team down.
Okay.
And we understand that this has been a concern in the past, and we want to change that image for us moving forward, and because that's not the excellence that we prefer to operate at, especially because my team feels confident that we can get it there in 3 months. I think we can do 40.
Okay. Okay, great. Can we get that in?
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Can we do a quick recap of what we've covered so far?
Absolutely.
Great.
So we have, starting with the service contract, we have that at $100,000 with 2 years, including parts and labor.
Okay.
We have the recuperator at $400, the sea salt air filters at $100, and then the marine shelter at $350.
$350.
I thought it was 300.
Yeah, I thought the air spray filters were going to come down. That's where I was talking about.
Oh.
I'm fine with if we can get the guaranteed 3 months. 300 is not bad for the marine shelter.
Okay.
We understand it's custom built. While water damage isn't something that we're super worried about, we won't have to buy a cover for it for the rain.
Sure.
I'll saves a little bit of money there, right?
Right.
But so we are okay with that. And we know it looks good for you. And so if it's going to protect some of our other wells that we build in the future that might be a little bit lower, we do want to see some good testing on that. So I think that's agreeable.
Yeah, we can make 300 work.
I would love to take a short, 3 to 5 minute break if that's okay. There's a conference room across the hall right there that y'all can meet in. Just so we can discuss a couple things, and then we'll be back in about 3 to 5 minutes.
Wonderful. Sounds great.
That's fine.
Okay.
Sure. Thank you.
Come grab us when you guys are ready.
Oh yeah, we'll come grab you.
At 40? Do we agree on 40?
Yeah, 40 for me.
Okay. When you just talking about
What time are we at? What time?
We're at 8:05.
maybe
I don't like it. It's
How much is that?
50,000
How
a
long
year.
have we got?
When you do the math, it's 50,000 a year. It's more expensive
Okay,
than
but
what
guys,
we
we
wanted,
also-
which is 90,000 for 2 years, and we're coming up to 100,000 for 2 years. Or no, we wanted 90,000 for
3
3.
years.
We also need to make sure one of our
Not
biggest
good.
objections is to maintain this relationship, so we can't cut them off in everything.
Yeah, I know.
We need to be able to give a little.
I think because we went really
Yeah.
hard on the 3 months,
Exactly.
bring the
Exactly.
late delivery up. I think that the service contract, we have the service contract, which is what's great.
Are you going to argue against the salt spray?
No, I think
No.
that's something that we
So
needed.
what is that? What does that total come out to? It's 300.
So it'll be 900.
So
900.
I might say, hey, I know we had talked about the air spray filter. We were actually going over
Who's
it.
talking about arbitration?
That's
in the very end,
that's-
right
Right.
before.
Yeah.
Bring it up right at the end. Be like, hey,
So what's the
we don't
total?
want to-
What's the total cost if we do
Just say the
those?
corporate.
So full price for compressor will be 3.4.
Okay, that's too high.
I think that we can get rid of the air spray filter because he's like Max said, be like, hey, I heard you said the air spray filter. We actually went over that. Max said that we don't really need that. Is that something we could take out? We're priced a little high.
Get rid of it, keep the marine shelter at 300.
And
Yeah.
then we're
And then I think we should agree just to the rest of the terms,
And
just so that
yeah.
they get a little.
I think
Well, I would come down a little bit on inflation, but also if they come back and try to argue against that price because we want to be under 3.3, then you could say, well, then I want to go lower on the recuperator because when you think about it, we only just came down 100.
I think if we get rid of the air spray filter, we're at 3.3,
That will take
and
away
then
much.
anything else that we can get from there is
we can
fine.
come down on the total.
Hey, in terms of payment, we need to talk about that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
but we
we'll
can come
talk.
down on total
25,
natural gas compressor
50,
set
75?
because that's really
25,
expensive. We can come down 100,000 on that and then be comfortable with
For
that.
equal payments.
So get rid of salt spray and come down 100,000 on natural gas compressor.
Mhm.
They'll probably want to come down 50,000, so I say max 50,000 because that'll get us under 3.3.
Yeah, yeah. That's the first thing that we're talking about is the airspace filter.
Yeah, it's on RP3 and it's okay. But
We only have 20 minutes though.
Hey, it's not our fault.
hey, if we start getting, if we're 5
We need
minutes
help.
out.
Yeah.
I'll get some coffee or.
Oh,
I
just
wish.
took a breather. It was a little warm in the room. I know we'd start getting into it, so.
Now,
Air circulation in here.
You guys have a beautiful conference room, by the way. The view is absolutely stellar. You guys overlook the country club over
That's our
All right. So something that
Nice.
jumping back into it. Something I know you mentioned as we were reviewing the contract. You mentioned 100,000 for the air spray filters.
Right.
Team and I talked about that. We caught that. If we are going to do the marine shelter, I know you mentioned that they're not super necessary if we do the marine shelter. Is that something that we can cut out because we are going with the marine shelter?
Salt and spray.
Yeah, the salt spray air filters. Because you mentioned that they're not super necessary. They're an extra line of defense, you call them?
You're to clarify, you're asking to cut out the seasonal
Yes.
filters?
Yeah.
I'm just confused because in the beginning you said that was one of the most important ones.
It was, but that was before we decided to go with the marine shelter.
Oh, okay.
Because Max said that the marine shelter basically does what the air spray filters do.
Right.
And so if we're going to go with that
Okay.
that option,
Sure.
we don't see that being necessary.
If that's the case, we're gonna have to come up $50,000 on the marine shelter, because at this point, I want to be very transparent. We've already come down with the $30,000 increase there on the penalty for late delivery. We're sitting at like $530,000.
Mhm.
I mean, we've come back a lot
Mhm.
as far as in the value of dollar amounts of what we've done here. So we're gonna have to come up. I think 350 is a very fair number for the marine shelter if we're cutting out the salt spray air filters entirely.
I mean, even,
Especially because it does both of the job.
Yeah.
yeah, it does both of the jobs. And so, I mean, if we had agreed on 300, why? I mean, I understand the reasoning, but I mean, if it's not something that,
I think if we agreed on 300, we agreed on 300. I don't know why we would go back up. And we're also looking at total cost here. I mean, for me, I'm advocating for them, and I know they believe it's expensive.
Mhm.
So looking at total cost, we would be comfortable staying at 300. And
I mean, I feel like the way that we're looking at it is we need one or the other. And we do understand that the marine shelter is probably the better of the two, considering it has protections for both. We, like I said, right from the beginning, I've been honest, we have been worried about price. And so cutting out one of those two is probably where we're going to get. I understand that y'all have done, y'all have been great coming up on a few things, and we've appreciated it. But with those two, we've kind of seen it as they're both not necessary to have.
Sure, especially looking at the fact that they are an additional add-on for extra cost savings going forward, and we did say 300. I think we can keep that, even considering that the air filter is no longer on the table.
Okay.
Is that be all right?
Yes, that's fine.
So 300 marine, 400 recuperator, and get rid of the.
Get rid of the salt spray.
And I know we wanted to get into that
Right,
long term as well. So,
service
Joseph, would you like to bring up the inflation escalator and have that discussion?
Yeah.
I think didn't you also want to talk about the natural gas compressors?
Yeah, I mean, I think that let's talk about this or the elevator. We'll come back into that in a minute, depending on how this goes. So I'd love to hear about the inflation escalator.
We can't move from 15%.
Okay.
Absolutely cannot. That's a non-negotiable. We understand you have the 3-month non-negotiable. That's one of the things on our end. We also can't change on our cancellation charges. We've come back. We've come back a lot here, and looking at what we have remaining, it's going to have to be 15% for the inflation escalator, 10% for the cancellation charges. Keep those as is.
Obviously, I mean, we are looking to come down from those, but y'all have made some great concessions. I think that that would be completely fair, but I do want to talk about the delivery. Where is that? It's somewhere on here.
The delivery or the penalty?
The terms of payment. The terms of payment.
Oh, terms of payment.
Yeah. Sorry.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Taking the break.
You found it.
Pull me out of it. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, the terms of payment. That's, I feel like, if we're talking about those two, the terms of payment kind of comes into terms with that,
Okay.
right? Because inflation escalator is based on delivery.
Okay. So we originally have our terms of payment set at cash on delivery. Were you expressing that was a concern for you?
Yeah, so something that with it being a new product, we were thinking more on the lines of split it up onto a quarter at delivery and then a quarter at startup. So once it's up and running, it's been installed, everything. And then for another quarter after 90 days and another quarter 90 days after that.
Okay. So
That we feel that would give us time to, have it delivered, set up, and then you have half your payment. And then we can see how it's been running, don't have any issues, and then if we do, see how your team can come out and fix it.
Okay. So four quarter payments.
Yeah.
Okay. I know that we could do installation periods. I think we would be more comfortable moving forward with 40% before, 50% throughout the installation process, and then 10% afterwards, just because there is a high upfront cost with the machinery that we're producing.
Okay.
So we would prefer to have a larger part of that payment up front as opposed to the quarter.
Would it be possible to do 40, 30, 30?
40, 30, 30.
That's
And then so after 90
I know
days.
from an engineering and manufacturing standpoint that 40%
So that
would.
40 works.
We would need at least that to
I
manufacture.
I understand that the higher upfront
Sure.
cost is going to be important, but like I said, we do want some of that. We can see the runtime, and I feel like 10% isn't a lot to ensure that that's running effectively.
Sure. So if 40 is good on the engineering
40,
side,
yeah, I
we
think
can
we can
do
do
40, 30, 30.
Okay,
Perfect.
great. And is that the 90 days for the last 30, or?
Yeah, we can do 90
Okay,
days for last 30.
Okay.
Okay.
Well then, if we can do that and kind of have that spread out a little bit so it's not just on delivery, I think
Right.
that's inflation escalator and cancellation charges.
Then those can stay
I think
as
those can
is.
stay.
Wonderful.
I think that we don't plan on canceling. We're looking forward to the product, so I don't think that's something we need to worry
Good.
about. And inflation escalator, that's understandable. That's
Okay.
if we ever delay it, I don't see that happening.
Right.
Wonderful. Except for the rest. So can we recap what we went over so far and what else we need to cover?
So as of right now, we have the custom built marine shelter at 300,000, the recuperator at 400,000, and the service contract at 100. So that'll be 2 years. The apprenticeship. So that's what's there, and we have delivery 3 months, but the clause on that is going to be that you're going to take it from our port.
Yes, yes.
We have penalty for late delivery at 40,000 a month. Cancellation charges 10% of contract price.
Yep.
Warranty parts 1 year. That's correct?
That's covered by the service contract.
Okay. Yep. Terms of payment is going to be 40% on delivery, and then 30/30 divided up into the 90-day periods.
So, start up and then 90 days after that.
Right.
So
Okay.
what does that bring their total cost to?
So right now we're looking at 3.3.
Okay. We're looking to 3, but I know that's kind of in the middle of where we're looking at.
Okay.
Team, is there anything else that you thought about?
Maybe coming down a little bit on
The compressor set, like the original compressor set?
it's up to you.
Is that something
Really
y'all
up
have
to you,
considered?
or-
I know that we covered a lot, and I would hate to go
Right.
back
I
to
think
change
our
stuff.
total reduction, Joseph, is heading towards about 10%, or what is it at currently?
Yeah,
Is there-
we are about to hit our limit as far as to what corporate
can't
allows
know
us
that.
to move. So
Okay.
unfortunately, we can't
Okay.
budge on the compressor set.
I know, you throw out the Hail Mary and see us. So
Seriously, I'm content. I'm content.
I think we're
What
good.
if I want to ask you this, if we came down, say 10,000, I would say to feel comfortable going back to corporate, nearing so close to that 10%, we would need something in the contract about moving forward in the future with the 20 wells, if our products perform.
Is it
And
possible-
making that partnership, exclusive right now?
So like from now, like even if we don't.
With the clause of if they perform, if they do what we say they're going to do, then we are entitled to be the official supplier of Maverick on those wells that you spoke about?
I don't think that's something that, at least corporate, that's above my head. Signing a deal that big is, I'm really here for this deal. I think that it's something that, if the product performs well, it's something we would love to continue with.
Okay.
I mean, if you're talking the energy savings that you're saying,
Yeah.
I think, I see no reason why we wouldn't enjoy that.
Sure.
But I don't think that's something we can do now. I think that's something in a year, when we start on those new wells, that's when we can talk about it. But, I mean, like you said, if you can,
I mean, we
you
do
can-
have a great relationship
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
you guys, and so
Yeah.
I definitely
Yeah,
don't
that's-
expect that to go south.
Great.
I feel
So
great
you're doing
about
that renegotiation.
where we're at with all of our terms on there.
So we're
Something-
sitting at 3-3.
Yeah, sitting at 3-3. There is something that, right before we sign, it is corporate policy now, and I know Shao could speak on this, about arbitration. We don't have a huge legal team anymore. We cut back on those costs, so we do outsource that. Shao?
Right, so we do outsource arbitration, and it's a new policy. We're still trying to cope with it, and then from last year, we've been negotiating contract that needs to include arbitration. So how would the arbitration play out? In our contract, it depends on how we're going to work through it.
Can you?
So we need to include arbitration in our contract.
Okay.
We don't have a huge legal team anymore. We've had some big cutbacks in our department, so we do outsource that to a third-party arbitrator. They would just go through the contract, make sure that everything looks good, and then that's kind of where we're at. That's really not us. That's just corporate.
To make sure we all have a clear understanding on this side of the table, you want to include the third-party arbitration in the contract?
Yeah, we just because of our small department, that's where we.
I think
I
we can do that.
feel
Yeah,
comfortable doing
absolutely.
that.
Does that
Okay.
clarify that for you?
Yeah, that'd
Throw
be
that in
great.
there? Awesome.
We would love that.
All right, we'll include the arbitration clause
All right.
within this. And
That's it.
I think that's it.
All right.
So I'll pass this over to y'all.
Ready for
Take
real
one
quick?
final look at it.
Yeah.
And then sign that dotted line whenever you're
We
ready.
do need everyone's signature on that.
Me too.
Under there.
Yeah. 3 up. So the 100,000 air filter.
Oh,
We
yes.
need to,
We'll just cross that one out.
Yeah, I put an X by it. Awesome, great. And then, so was that included in the 3-3?
No.
Okay, so.
3-3 is pulling from
7,
our Excel.
3-1.
Gotta love Excel.
Okay, nice.
Oh, and then search my 300. That's where we get to the 3-3, yep. And then. So, okay, that did look included. So if we do the 2-4 with a 300, put us at 2-7. And then add on the 4, that's 3-1. So 3-1 would be here. Add on the 100, we're at 3-2.
Oh, I'm sorry. 2-4. This should be 2-5.
Okay.
This is our original.
Okay. And so, yeah, 3-3. And then, pretty much it.
Jason, before you continue taking a look at it, I just want to make sure before anybody puts pen to paper that you're all happy with where we're at, and that when you go back to talk to your boss upon conclusion of this meeting, that they're going to be okay with what's transpired.
Yeah, I feel good. I feel we've come to terms. I know y'all did us really well by making sure that we get it really soon.
Well,
So
we're really excited to see you put the recuperators in use, and
well, we're excited to get y'all's teams out and get that installed.
I know Max and Ava cannot wait to see what the recuperator is going to do for you.
really excited for this
The
one.
technology, the work that their team has put in has been absolutely tremendous. So,
How exciting is technology?
yeah.
Exactly.
And we're excited to see you all expand as well.
Big moves for us.
Exciting.
Any idea where you're looking at locating those sites?
So there's a lot in the Gulf. I mean, there's a lot of resources out there. Gas or oil, like you had mentioned earlier. BP, put a bad name for all of us, right? But I think that's where we're looking at. But yeah, that's the team. So if we can get you all settled much, we'd love to shake some hands.
We got
Thank you, sir. Yeah,
It's been great.
Thank you.
Good job.
See you.
It's so great to see you. Great to see you.